Hey guys, J-Dub here at Dub's Customs. I'm standing in front of Flirting with Disaster for a reason. As you guys know, we run our stuff pretty hard, and all I can say right now is Flirtin's hurting. So over the weekend, we're going to be pulling out the motor. Something is definitely wrong. Don't really know what it is at this point, but it's puffing a little bit of blue, running pretty rough. So I don't know if a part let go inside the engine or what. We're hoping for the best, fingers crossed. All we've got to really do is get in there, do a little inspection. Maybe just a spark plug let go, maybe something very simple, but my gut is telling me it's something more. I want to explain one thing to you guys. When you're playing with speed and performance, sometimes you have to take things right to the edge to see what they can take, and sometimes beyond. But to learn, sometimes you have to break parts. So today we're going to be digging into Flirting with Disaster, starting by checking the oil. That's going to dictate which direction we go. Do we have to dig right into the engine, or does the bottom look like it's in good shape? And we'll know that by seeing, is there metallics in the oil, or even worse, chunks. First things first, we've got to check this oil. That's going to tell us a lot of things about the condition of this engine and what direction we're going to have to go. Come on down here and let's check this out. Best case scenario, this oil is nice and clean. Worst case, chunks. Looking at it backwards. All right, moment of truth. Come on, baby. Well, there is a mysterious line running down the middle of this oil. Oh yeah. It's not looking good. Nothing huge, but there's definitely one speck down at the bottom right now that could potentially be a chunk of steel. The oil's not looking that great. A little bit milky. Definitely a little bit milky. I think I've seen enough. I'm gonna come out and show you guys. We're tearing this motor down. So, might not look like much, and I don't know what that is, but it does just, well, I don't know. See all that there? I don't know, it's got to be bearing material or... Yeah, so I'm just not sure. It's not as clean as I would have liked it, but it's not terrible. So I guess at this point, we got to keep digging, see what we find. So let's pop this hood off and get wrenching. Another way we're going to read the health of this motor is to pull out the spark plugs and see what they're telling us. And hopefully we'll come out with a clean bill of health. Crack them all. Number 2 is looking not too shabby. Number 4 is telling us pretty good. Looking pretty consistent straight across the board on this side. Ooh, that's the only one that's a little different. We'll have to look into that a little bit. But all in all, not terrible. Let's see what the other side's telling us. Cylinder number 1. Well, there is a little bit of moisture on the end here. It's either leftover fuel or possibly water. Maybe we pushed a head gasket, possibly. So we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. Again, I don't know if you can see that, but right around the electrode there's quite a bit of either fuel or water. If I had a lighter, I'd try to light it up and give it a little test, but nothing catastrophic at this point, but looking towards maybe a head gasket. Pretty much the same. Just that moisture around there. And number 7. Oh boy, we got problems in cylinder number 7. Maybe it's more than just a head gasket. Damn it. That means there's definitely a foreign piece of metal inside the engine. But I'm kind of thinking now that we have bigger problems. I'm gonna take the whole top end off of this thing and see where we're at. Everything was looking good to this point. Started thinking possible head gasket. Now, I don't know what to think. We've got to pull the head off and see what we've got. After a grueling battle with the blower, we finally got it off. All the gaskets are all glued onto the heads. Man, we fought to get that off. But we won. Heads are next. Now that we've got all the bolts out of the head, it's time to really see what kind of damage we're working with. When I pulled the spark plugs out, they all were pretty consistent except for the very back cylinder, cylinder number 8. So I'm going to be looking at that cylinder and just overall just assessing any damage. So here we go. First glance, looks not bad. No damage there. Now we know there's something going on the other side. That's why I chose to have a look at this side first. Now to the other side to see what the fate of the engine's really going to be. So we've worked our way over to the driver's side of the engine. We know there was damage. The strap off the spark plug was missing. So there's at least one foreign piece of material in this engine. And even worse, possibly, maybe something even bigger came up and smacked that spark plug. So we've got all the bolts removed. Let's not wait any longer. Let's find out what's really going on with this engine. Hopefully we'll be putting a new head gasket in it, putting it all back together, and we'll be cruising by next weekend, but let's find out. Oh snap! There's a hole in the piston, dude. I was not expecting that. Oh man. There's a hole in the end of the darn piston. You can see the connecting rod. Unbelievable. There's no damage to the head. So we got away lucky there, but what happened to that piece of piston? Like, there's really no dents or anything in the combustion chamber. Just a few steel chunks or aluminum chunks. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't even say it's chunks. It's like little flecks. So that piece must have dropped straight down in the crankcase right away. Unbelievable. A hole in the piston. Are you kidding me? This is what happens when you push things to the limit. Especially with blown engines, you really have to keep a few parameters in check. You know, you can't be running too lean, too rich. You gotta be watching your boost, your timing. All of that has to stay inside a certain window for this to stay together. As soon as one of those parameters isn't met, you get this. So the hunt for the mystery piece of aluminum definitely continues. We've got to figure out what we're going to do, whether we're just going to change this block out, put it all back together and get cruising for the summer and deal with this later, or if we're going to rebuild this. We showed you that there was a giant hole in the piston, but with further inspection, we found a great big crack in the side of the block, right in cylinder number 7. So now what I'm thinking is, it must have got a cracked block, whether it over boosted or timing was out, whatever it may be, shot a bunch of water into the cylinder and hydraulicked, pushing that piece of aluminum down into the crankcase. That's just a theory at this point, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is going on, because water doesn't compress. You get enough of it in that cylinder, things got to move. But that's our little update for now. Now we got to figure out where we're going to get another block. Either way, we'll be cruising this summer. So over the last month, we've been back and forth with Canadian Crate Engines. They built us an excellent bottom end, and it's en route right now. So today we need to pull that junk engine out, strip the heads and the blower off so it's ready for the short block to show up, because this coming weekend we've got a pretty good event up at Sun Peaks that we want to be going to. So we got to thrash on this for a couple of days, so we're ready to go. We want at least one day to kind of drive it around and test on it a little bit. But it's not going to get done with me behind the camera sitting here talking to you guys. So let's get the hood off and start pulling this engine out so we can get the new one in and make Flirting with Disaster better than it ever was. So the short block from Canadian Crate Engine has finally showed up for Flirting with Disaster. Romaine's bolting the first head down. We've now got an engine that is built for 15 pounds of boost because, well, Romaine's got a heavy foot. So we got a goal. Get the heads and the blower on today and get the engine back into Flirting with Disaster tonight and bolt it to the transmission. So tomorrow we can get all of the accessories on. So we have one day to test it before we've got to drive it 60 kilometers each way up the Sun Peaks for the car show. So we're looking forward to bringing them back at full strength. And well, you think we're gonna make it, Romaine?
We're gonna make it.
Okay. So you can see we've got both heads bolted down. The blower is getting cinched down now, and our short block is now a long block. Our E-Force Enforcer 2.0 is just about ready to be slipped back in Flirtin with Disaster. Man, things are getting exciting around here at Dubs Customs. So we've got the engine reinstalled in Flirtin with Disaster. We're just setting the valves right now. We're getting very close. Hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be firing it up. We are 1 day behind, like I mentioned before. Tomorrow is the car show, so we need to have this thing running and a little bit of time tonight to just put some kilometers on it. We don't want to start heading up the Sun Peaks and have any kind of failures. So we do want to put this truck back on the dyno, but we're probably not going to get a chance to do it today. So I think we're just going to ease it up the hill to Sun Peaks without creating too much boost. We still have the big pulley on the front, so it should only be able to produce about 5 pounds max. So that's pretty safe, but you know what? You can't be sure unless you put it on the dyno and you just check everything off. So we are getting close. Soon we'll be making some noise. So we finally think that we're ready to go. We've got everything buttoned up. We've left the valve covers off just so we can verify that we've got oil pressure and that oil is coming up through the lifters. And we've got the distributor sitting there loose. So I think we're gonna do this in 2 steps. Number 1, we just wanna get it fired up and verify that we've got oil coming up to the top of the engine. Then we're gonna put the valve covers on, and then we've got the timing light over here, and we'll start to time it. So fingers crossed. It's not going to give us too much grief. It's going to fire up here right away because we're running out of time. So let's hop in there, Romaine. Let's see if she'll start. I'm going to be over here just so I can tickle on the distributor a little bit. I'm going to prime that fuel. I'll let you know when we got some fuel pressure. Okay, fuel pressure's come up, 5 pounds. Oh, so I'm not going to move the distributor yet. Let's just, well, that ain't bad. It's alive. No oil yet. We did soak everything in oil, so come on. Boy, it's sure taken a while. It did the first time too. Why do we not have anything? There's a little bit of oil on this side. Do you have an oil pressure gauge in there? What's it saying? 55? See, with these roller rockers, we might not see as much. Like I do see there's oil starting to build a little bit. Let's just, maybe we won't do this in 2 steps. Let's just see where we're at timing-wise. Oh, we're way off of there. Okay, we're too far advanced right now. Man, I don't see a whole bunch of oil. A little bit starting there for sure. I'm just gonna try to turn this back a bit. Oh, it's tight back there. Okay, I think it went the wrong way. Go back over here. Oh yeah, we're starting to get some oil pressure here. Or I guess we've had oil pressure the whole time, but starting to get some oil up to the top. Let's just get it within the ballpark here. Keep going a bit more. It's alive, buddy. Oh, still a bit more yet. Fuel pressure's up to 6. Starting to see a lot more oil in there. We are still a little bit too far. See where we're at. Hold on. We're 14 degrees advanced right now. So that's about 10 degrees advanced right there. So let's shut her down, let's put the valve covers on, and then we'll start playing with the timing just a little bit more. But she's alive. We're ahead of the game a little bit. It's only 1:30, so we're still gonna have another probably hour of playing around, and then we've got to take it out and just start putting a few kilometers on it just to make sure that there's no leaks and everything is ready to go for tomorrow. So I just got back to the shop from taking Flirtin with Disaster for its first street run, and it's running pretty good. It's at 95%. To get to 100%, we need to do a little bit of dyno tuning, but it's right there. It's just a great feeling to have this beautiful truck back at full strength. Like always, guys, be safe out there. Peace.